When discussing events that would occur in the time of the end, Jesus Christ gave the warning that's recorded in our day's text. Let's read it in its context, please. Matthew chapter 24, verses 42 through 45. It says, "But know one thing," that's verse 43. It says, "Keep on the watch, therefore, because you do not know on what day your Lord is coming. But know one thing, if the householder had known in what watch the thief was coming, he would have kept awake and not allowed his house to be broken into. On this account, you too, prove yourselves ready, because at an hour that you disciples, do not think to be it. The Son of Man is coming at an hour that you do not think to be it." And then it says, "Who really is the faithful and discreet slave, whom his master appointed over his domestics, to give them their food at the proper time?" Well, what does it mean for us to keep on the watch? As Jesus indicated, it means that when he comes as Jehovah's executional agent, we want to be ready. We want to be acting appropriately, and we want to be busy in the work that he has assigned his true followers to do. And how do we do that? Notice that verse 45 draws our attention to the faithful and discreet slave. A slave that would give the domestics their food at the proper time, food that would enable them to be ready.
But when Jesus says, "at an hour that you do not think to be it," to whom do those words apply? Was it to the disciples with the exception of the faithful and discreet slave, the governing body? Did Jesus indicate that there would be a group of men that would somehow have divine insight as to when he would arrive, and then pass that information on to the rest of his disciples in order for them to keep awake? Does an examination of their track record show that the governing body has any more insight or ability to understand the scriptures than the average Christian?
Well, up until recently, publications have explained.
In the past, here's what we've said.
Now, you may recall that we used to think a certain way some 10 years ago.
For a number of years, our publications have explained.
Well, for many years, our publications have taught.
Well, for many years, including in the April 15th, 2009 Watchtower, our understanding was that
We have to make adjustments. Now, you may have heard of a few adjustments in our understanding of things already today, and there could be more adjustments that will have to be made later on.
But the governing body, and we really feel under the direction of Jehovah's Spirit, has recently undertaken a careful, prayerful study of this subject and have come to the conclusion that an adjustment in our understanding is definitely needed.
But now, prophecy is best understood when we consider it in context. And if you look at the context of Joel chapter 2, you are forced to come to a different conclusion.
As we look at the scriptures as a whole,
When we re-examine the illustration in the context, it's very clear to us that we needed to adjust our understanding.
Now, when you think of it, we sort of had our explanation backwards in the past.
Now, in the past, what we said,
Well, that's obvious. This explanation is obvious. Why didn't we see it before?
Some things Jehovah will not permit us to see, even though we read over it many, many times. We can't see it until Jehovah puts the light on it.
now it's true, some might say, well, yes, but at times, we look back over the 100 years, there were times they got excited about a certain year or time, and the end didn't come at that time. But just imagine if you had a watchdog, and that dog barks in the middle of the night, and you get up and there's nothing there. Do you shoot the dog? It only proves that the dog is doing what you want it to do. So in a similar way, realize the faithful slave, yes, in the enthusiasm, sometimes we have said things that maybe disappointed others. But remember, the role of the faithful and discreet slave is to feed us, to keep us awake spiritually, and keep us alert.
You have to let that sink in.